Your body has a secret cleaning crew, and you keep firing them. You feel fine right now. You woke up, maybe had your coffee, maybe scrolled your phone. Nothing hurts. Nothing feels wrong. But deep inside every single cell in your body, something is either happening or it is not. And whether it happens or not will decide how long you live, how sharp your brain stays, and whether disease finds you early or never finds you at all. This process has a name. Scientists call it autophagy, and most people have never heard of it. That is the problem. A Japanese scientist won the Nobel Prize for discovering how this works, and what he found should have changed everything about how we eat, how we sleep, and how we live. But most doctors never bring it up. Most health advice completely ignores it. Today, that changes. I am going to show you exactly what autophagy is, why your body desperately needs it, and the simple daily habits that can switch it on starting today. No expensive supplements, no complicated routines, just biology working the way it was always meant to work. Stick with me until the end, because the last piece of this is the one most people miss entirely. What is autophagy and why should you care? Let me start with a simple picture. Imagine your house. Now imagine you never cleaned it, never took out the trash, never swept the floor, never threw away the broken things piling up in the corner. After a while, that house becomes dangerous. Mold grows, dust chokes the air. The broken furniture starts blocking the doorways. That is exactly what happens inside your cells when autophagy is not running. Your cells are tiny living machines. They work all day, every day, burning fuel, building things, sending signals. And just like any machine, they produce waste. Broken proteins, damaged parts, old worn-out pieces that no longer work properly. Autophagy is the cleaning crew. When it runs, your cells package up all that damaged waste, break it down, and either flush it out or recycle it into new usable parts. Clean, efficient, renewed. When it does not run, that waste builds up, and built-up cellular waste is linked to some of the most serious diseases humans face. Cancer, Alzheimer's, heart disease, accelerated aging. Dr. Yoshinori Osumi, a Japanese cell biologist, spent decades studying this process.
Starvation must be the most serious problem for living, so small amount of nutrient should recycle to live, and that's the reason from yeast to human autophagy must be very important for survival. That's my opinion. Yeah.
In 2016, he received the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for mapping out exactly how autophagy works at the molecular level. His research showed that without this cellular cleanup process, cells begin to malfunction in ways that can lead to disease. This is not a fringe theory. This is Nobel Prize-winning biology. And here is the part that should wake you up. Autophagy does not run all the time. It needs to be triggered. And the way most people eat and live in the modern world keeps it almost permanently switched off. That is the silent problem. Right now, in most people reading this, the cleaning crew is sitting idle. But here's the thing. You have control over this, completely. The switch. How you turn it on. So what flips the switch? The single most powerful trigger for autophagy is something your body has been designed to handle for hundreds of thousands of years. Not eating. Let me say that differently, because the word fasting scares people. This is not starvation. This is not suffering. This is not some extreme protocol that requires willpower you do not have. Think of it this way. Your body runs on fuel. When fuel is flowing in constantly, your cells stay in build and burn mode. They are focused on processing what is coming in. The cleaning crew stays in the break room, but when the fuel stops, even for a short time, your body gets a message. There is nothing coming in right now. Time to clean house. That is autophagy switching on. Dr. Takayuki Teruya, a Japanese researcher who studies the metabolic effects of fasting, found that fasting does not simply reduce what comes in. It actively changes the internal chemistry of your cells. His research, published in scientific journals studying metabolomics, found that fasting triggers the production of dozens of metabolites, the small chemical compounds involved in energy, defense, and repair that are rarely seen in a constantly fed state. In plain language, fasting does not just pause things, it activates something. Your body shifts from a passive state into an active repair mode that it simply cannot enter while digestion is running. Here is the practical reality. Research suggests that autophagy begins to meaningfully increase somewhere between 12 and 16 hours after your last meal. That is the window. That is where the cleaning crew clocks in. For many people, this is easier than it sounds. If you eat dinner at 7 in the evening and have breakfast at 8 the next morning, that is already 13 hours. You were asleep for most of it. The process can be that simple. Not starving, not weak, optimized. The Japanese approach to eating, and what they figured out long before science caught up. Here is something interesting. In Okinawa, a small group of islands in southern Japan, people have historically lived longer than almost anywhere else on Earth. Researchers studying so-called blue zones, places where unusual numbers of people live past 100, found Okinawa consistently on that list. Scientists started asking why. One answer kept appearing: the way they eat. Not just what they eat, how much, and when. Okinawan culture has a phrase that has been practiced for generations: hara hachi bu. It translates roughly to, eat until you are 80% full. No calorie counting, no measuring, no apps. Just stopping before you are stuffed. This sounds too simple to matter, but let me explain the biology. When you consistently eat to full capacity, your digestive system is under maximum load constantly. Your insulin levels stay elevated. Your body stays locked in storage and processing mode. Autophagy cannot run in that environment. But when you pull back slightly, when you stay just a little under capacity, something shifts. Metabolic stress decreases. Insulin comes down faster. And that window between meals, the gap where autophagy can activate, becomes more effective. Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara was one of Japan's most respected physicians. He worked as a practicing doctor until he was past 100 years old. He died at 105. His approach to food was not complicated. Eat light. Stop before full. Keep meals simple and plant forward. Avoid anything that makes the body work harder than it needs to. He believed that the body, given the right conditions, knows how to maintain itself. The job of the person living in that body is simply not to get in the way. That philosophy is not mystical. It is biology. What to eat inside your window. Now here is where most people make a mistake. They hear about fasting and autophagy, and they focus entirely on the not eating part. They obsess over the window. They count the hours. But what you eat inside that window matters just as much. Because certain foods help your body stay in repair mode, and certain foods slam the brakes on autophagy almost immediately. Let me walk you through this clearly. First, the foods that support this process. Dr. Homi Shinya was a Japanese-American gastroenterologist, a stomach and intestinal specialist, who spent decades performing endoscopic examinations on thousands of patients. He observed something consistent. The patients with the healthiest internal tissue, the cleanest gut walls, the least inflammation, were the ones eating primarily plant-based whole foods, vegetables, fruits, fermented foods, legumes, whole grains. His approach, which he called the biozyme theory, held that the body functions best when it has access to fresh enzymes from living foods, and when the digestive system is not constantly overwhelmed by heavy, processed, or chemically altered foods. In simple terms, real food keeps the system clean. Processed food clogs it. A traditional Japanese diet does this naturally. Fermented foods like miso and natto support gut bacteria. Seaweed provides minerals that most Western diets completely lack. Fish provides clean protein without the inflammatory load of processed meats. Brown rice and barley provide fiber that feeds beneficial bacteria and helps regulate blood sugar. When blood sugar is stable, insulin stays low. When insulin stays low, autophagy runs better. This is not coincidence. This is a system that works together. Now the foods that block this process: refined sugar, white flour, ultra-processed packaged food. These cause fast, sharp spikes in insulin. And every time insulin spikes, autophagy gets paused. The cleaning crew stops. The waste builds back up. This is why two people can fast for the same number of hours and get completely different results. One eats whole foods inside their window. One eats processed food inside their window. The biology responds differently, every time. The morning protocol. How to break your fast without undoing it. Here is where it gets practical. A Japanese physician who has advocated for modified fasting explains a simple approach. Start your day with something light. Fresh juice, carrot or apple. Not a large meal. Not something that takes hours to digest. Just a small, nutrient-dense drink. Something that introduces vitamins and minerals gently, without triggering a heavy insulin spike. Carrot juice supports your liver, your eyes, and your skin. Apple juice contains natural antioxidants that support heart health and reduce inflammation. The key here is simple. Keep it small. Half a glass is enough. Give your body 10 to 20 minutes before adding anything else. You can pair it with a small amount of healthy fat, a few almonds, or a spoonful of olive oil. This helps slow sugar absorption even further. This is how you end a fast, without shocking your system. Later in the morning, have a full, whole food meal. Vegetables, legumes, whole grains, and clean protein if you choose to eat it. Throughout the day, hydration matters more than most people realize. Start your morning with water, 2 glasses, on an empty stomach. This helps your body flush out the waste that was cleaned up overnight. Because without water, the trash gets collected, but it has nowhere to go. Green tea can also help, especially high-quality varieties. It contains antioxidants that may support this process, not as a replacement, but as a complement. Think of it this way: water and tea are the trucks that carry away the waste that your body worked all night to clean. The 3 things that block it. Let me be direct. You can understand all of this and still block autophagy every single day without realizing it. First, late-night eating. This one quietly destroys your fasting window. You finish dinner, then you snack, then something small before bed. Each time you eat, the clock resets. If you eat at 7, snack at 10, and eat again at 8 in the morning, you only fasted for 10 hours. That is not enough for most people. The fix is simple. Eat earlier. Stop eating at least 2 to 3 hours before sleep. That single change extends your fasting window automatically. Second, constant grazing. Eating every 2 to 3 hours sounds healthy, but it keeps insulin elevated all day, and elevated insulin blocks autophagy. You do not need extreme fasting. Even 2 meals, with a proper gap between them, is enough for many people. But constant snacking keeps the cleaning crew locked out. Third, refined carbohydrates and added sugar. A single large serving of sugar can shut this process down for hours. If your eating window is filled with processed foods, sugary drinks, refined bread, you are constantly blocking the very system you are trying to activate. Your food choices are not neutral. They are either helping your body or working against it. The sleep connection. This is the part most people completely miss. Sleep is not just rest. It is your longest natural fasting window. When you sleep, your body shifts into repair mode. Hormones change, insulin drops, and cellular cleanup increases. But if you eat right before bed, you interrupt that entire process. Instead of repairing, your body spends hours digesting. A light, early dinner, followed by good sleep, is one of the most powerful things you can do. No cost, no supplements, just alignment with how your body already works. Your body repairs itself best, in the dark, in the quiet, when the last meal is already behind you. Putting it together, the protocol. Let me give you something concrete to take from this. This is not a rigid prescription. This is a framework based on everything we have covered. Adjust it to your life. Stop eating at least 2 to 3 hours before you sleep. This protects your overnight fasting window and allows your body to shift into repair mode while you sleep. Target a daily fasting window of at least 12 hours, working toward 14 to 16 hours as your body adapts. For most people, this means eating your first meal mid-morning rather than immediately upon waking. When you break your fast, start small. A glass of water first. Then, if you choose, a small amount of fresh juice or green tea. Give your system 20 minutes before introducing solid food. Inside your eating window, build your meals around whole plant foods, vegetables, legumes, fermented foods, whole grains. Keep animal protein moderate and clean. Minimize refined sugar and processed food. Eat until you are approximately 80% full, not stuffed, not still hungry, satisfied and slightly under capacity. Stay hydrated throughout the day. Water is not optional. It is how the waste leaves. That is the framework. Overnight fast, gentle morning, real food, stop before full, stay hydrated. Simple enough for a child to understand, powerful enough to change the trajectory of your health. The bigger picture. Here is what I want you to hold on to. Your body is not passive. It is not simply a container that breaks down over time until it stops working. It is an active, intelligent biological system that has been running self-repair protocols for hundreds of thousands of years. Autophagy is one of the oldest and most important of those protocols. It predates modern medicine by millions of years of evolution. The problem is not that the system is broken. The problem is that modern life keeps interfering with it. Constant food availability, processed ingredients, late nights, early breakfasts, eating windows that never actually close. The scientists we covered today did not invent anything new. Dr. Osumi mapped what was already there. Dr. Teruya measured what fasting was already doing. Dr. Hinohara lived what the biology already supported. Dr. Ishihara built a practice around what the body already needed. Dr. Shinya observed, in thousands of patients, what the difference actually looks like from the inside. They all pointed to the same direction. Give your body time. Give it real food. Give it rest. Get out of its way. You do not have to overhaul your life tomorrow. Start with one window, one earlier dinner, one morning without immediate food, one day of eating until 80% instead of 100. The biology responds quickly, faster than most people expect. Your cells have been waiting to clean house. All you have to do is let them. Now you know how. If this gave you something useful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you have questions about where to start, drop them below. I read them. Do not wait for symptoms to tell you something is wrong. The whole point of this